What's the kindest thing a stranger has ever done for you without asking for anything in return? I was totally down on my luck living out of a hotel. I did have a job, but not enough money to stay there until my check came. A friend of mine bought me lunch and was telling that they couldn't help with much, but this is what they had, which was $300 short. I guess we had talked about it, but I don't remember. The next thing I know, this guy at the next table is leaving, and he tells me not to go until he comes back. His girlfriend/wife stayed behind, even though they had paid the bill. He was back in a few minutes, and he hands me $300. I asked him for his contact info and said he didn't want it back and to keep working to stay off the streets. The man literally stopped my mom and I from becoming homeless. I still have a job and I'm in a nice apartment now, but I will always remember that man's generosity. I have tried to help other people as much as I can to pay him back in some way. Thanks for the question. It reminded me of one man's generosity of spirit and kindness, and I think we all need that right now. Thanks for sharing this. Really elevated my mood as I'm approaching a similar situation. I have my hopes up. A stranger bought myself and my ex dinner on Valentine's Day, and the waitress said he was so happy to do it. I guess he was a widower, and doing a kind thing was enough to keep him happy through tough times. Thank you, stranger. That's so heartwarming. Don't get me wrong, I wish my ex the worst, cause she cheated on me and I found out a week later. But this memory always made me smile. Damn. Sorry, man. That's kinda bad. But at least another human being treated ya well. Some old couple gave my son 50k tickets at the arcade. The husband was dying. This was their last trip, and had been collecting tickets for over 10 years. I did that for a kid a few years back. Neither one of us was dying, but a machine glitched and gave us double. Like, the stack of tickets said one, I needed 2 hands to hold on one piece, and I got twice that, requiring my husband to help carry them. The arcade won't hear it, didn't want half of them back. As far as they were concerned, it won the huge jackpot twice. So I took the second stack and made my hubby help me find a kid. Had to be like 8 years old. Him and his dad out for a movie night. And his face. My god. I still see that face, and how stoked he was. Still makes me smile. I've got a similar story that will hopefully make you smile a little. I was on vacation with my wife, her brother and his girlfriend. We went to a boardwalk that had games. I played that basketball game 3-pointer where it's like $8 for 3 shots or something like that. I made the last shot by bouncing on the rim twice and then it fell in. I won this gigantic bear like 4-5 feet tall. It was so big we couldn't fit it in the car with us. While we were leaving, we saw these 2 little girls with their parents and asked the parents if they would like the bear. Also had a smaller frog thing. They said of course. They were shy at first, but then I danced the bear at them, and this one girl's face lit up, and she squealed with joy, and was just jumping her feet with excitement. She walked over and hugged the bear hard, and took it from me. It was such a good memory I have. I almost didn't give it away too, because whoever wins that game anyway. Glad I did though. That little girl probably still loves that memory as well. I was struggling through college. Had maybe $30 in my account and really needed gas. I commuted 25 miles to campus every day. I pull in and it's full, but a guy waves me down to pull in behind him. He says, hey, I bought more than I needed, so there's about $10 of gas still on there. I almost started crying because that got me almost 4 gallons of gas. It really helped me out in a bad time, and I'm forever grateful. I had something very similar happen years ago. I was on my way to work, about 40 miles away, and stopped at a gas station 10 minutes away from my house for $20 of fuel. I went to pay and discovered that my account was almost empty. A payment that shouldn't have been taken for another 4 days had been taken early. At the time I didn't have any credit cards, so I couldn't have used one of them. So I stepped out of line and called my parents to grab the $20 I had forgotten on my nightstand. But before the call could even connect, this older gentleman came up to me, tapped me on the shoulder, and said it's taken care of, and then just walked off. before I could even respond. It took me a minute to register what he was even talking about. Then the gas station attendant explained it. I never got that guy's name. I've never seen him around since. I have no idea who he is or anything. I doubt he knew me either. He ordered a hit on whoever took that payment out early. How nice of him. An old lady I met on an Amtrak train when I was 10 years old found out I was interested in coins. She asked me for my address and promised to send me a couple books. A few weeks later, a big package arrived on my doorstep. Inside was her entire coin collection. Most of it carefully catalogued and arranged in coin books. Thanks, Connie. I still think of this. Oh man. As a fellow coin collector, that made my heart leap. What kind of stuff did she send? The books were full of wheat pennies, silver/buffalo nickels, Barber/Roosevelt dimes, and Franklin half dollars. She also sent a couple proof sets, a peace dollar, a couple Morgan dollars, and some really old pre-Civil War US coinage which, although not particularly valuable, really blew my mind. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm so jealous. About 20 years ago I was flying standby to my hometown because my brother had died, suicide. I was 5th or 6th on the list. I was a mess, but didn't say why I was flying to anyone. When the first guy on the list got called, he went up to the gate agent and told her that I obviously needed to get on that flight before anyone else on the standby list, and she agreed and called me to get on the plane. I often think about this kind man and hope has been living the good life he deserves. This one made me cry. Hope you're doing okay. About 4 years ago, my family and I were on a road trip to Florida. At the Mississippi/Alabama state line, we got out to take pictures at the sign, like families and tourists tend to do. Spent about 5 minutes there, exchanged some pleasantries with a father-son duo doing the same thing, then went on our way. 15 minutes later on the highway, we are just casually chatting in the car when we hear a honk coming from behind us. I look over, and it's a massive white truck. It's the father and son, and the son is waving my phone. Apparently, I had dropped it at the sign. We both quickly pull over, and I get my phone back. What amazes me is that they caught up to us at all. We were going 70 to 80 and had a good head start on them. That means they were on a mission to get my phone back to me and gunning it. The best part about it all, it was Christmas Day, so I'll always consider their kind actions as one of my favorite Christmas presents. Tyler, oh shit, where's my phone? Did I leave it back at the sign? That, dunno. Quick, load up the iPad and use the Find My iPhone app. Tyler, oh I see it. Dad, where is it? Tyler, it's... yeah. Coming this way. It's coming straight for US. The house is coming from inside the phone. Gave me a lift to my uni bus. I just missed the bus and was running behind it. Then a person from a macro on the road shouted at me to hop in. So I just hopped in without a second thought. They hurriedly went for the uni bus and stopped in front of it so I could catch it. Sounds terrible, but it wasn't. I feel that when I lived with my parents I had to catch a train to get to work every day. One day, lazy me got out of bed too late and I have to run for the train. It's not enough that I was late. It was also pouring rain down like hell. After a minute of running, a random car stops next to me and the woman in it just asks where I have to go. She brought me to the train station and I got onto my train. I work at a theater box office that has Broadway performances. Hamilton was premiering for the week and employees were not allowed to get tickets unless they paid for one, and even with the minor discount it was expensive. As a college student, I could not afford it at all, and it was my dream to watch it. I was a huge Hamilton fan since it first began. On the very last day of the show, a lady goes up to my ticket window and asks me, have you seen the show? And do you know if it's worth it? No, but I for sure know it's worth it. It's been sold out and very popular here. My daughter couldn't come. You can have her ticket. It was a $550 ticket in the third row center of the theater. I'm beyond blessed, and I will not forget how kind this stranger was at it. My manager, not a stranger, was also so kind. to cover my ticket window and let me leave early to see the show. I'm so glad you got to have that experience. Hamilton was my favorite theater experience / show ever. My husband and I lucked out and got pretty good tickets for about $200 each. Way more than we would usually spend, but totally worth it. Thank you, it was an amazing show. When I graduate college I will definitely do the same action so someone else can experience it. You're welcome. And great plan. Good luck graduating and finishing college. It seems like a really tough time to be a student right now. I loved college, including my online college classes, but it seems more difficult to have college turned into online learning in this chaotic manner. At the airport for my first solo international travel, and I was so excited. Took a lift to the airport and was stoked to see my family in England. I couldn't get that nervous butterfly feeling out of me for some reason. Fast forward to the security checkpoint. Him checking my pockets to take everything out. Passport, wallet, phone. Oh shit. I left my phone in the ducking lift. Without that I'm literally hopeless as I would not be able to contact my family who had bought a train ticket for me. Him having a panic attack in line. Then two wonderfully kind ladies. I'll never forget their names, Samantha and Kim. Let me use their phones to try and somehow contact this Lyft driver. It would take a miracle to get it back. But then the driver did call back and came all the way to the airport to drop it off. I was eternally grateful and will never forget those ladies and my amazing driver. I had to go out and come back through security and made my flight by mere seconds. I made a vow to always pay that kindness forward. Thank you Samantha and Kim wherever you are. Kind of the same thing happened to me. Was going to Manchester, UK by myself from New York City. Not exactly life saving, but a really nice guy. He was friends with one of Manchester United goalkeepers. He offered me gum. Told me all the good restaurants. And probably the nicest guy I have ever met. Changed my flat tire for me in a parking lot. As soon as I was getting out of the car he was already standing at my trunk asking me to open up so he could get the spare and take care of it. He wouldn't even let me help. I was 19 or 20 years old at the time and a big guy, so I could have handled it myself. But for whatever reason he seemed like he wanted to help someone, and I just happened to be that person there for him to help. I tried to slip him some money at the end and he refused and told me to have a good day. I wish that guy the best. I had a young dude who worked at a Chipotle change my tire on his lunch break once when I was maybe 21 or 22. I probably could have handled it on my own, but I'd never changed a tire before without my dad's help and the lug nuts were really tight, so I definitely appreciated when he just walked over and offered to do it for. It took him all of 5 minutes if that. My dad's trick for dealing with tough lug nuts is keeping a 1 or 2 foot piece of metal pipe in the trunk. You just slide it over the handle of the wrench. The extra length gives you more leverage. I'm short and skinny, so I'm not sure I'd actually be able to get a tire off without it. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.